Listen, there are books that are just good, there are books that are great, and there are some books that you just need to read in winter. I know mid-January might be a little late for this, but I guess it depends on where you live. We still have a few months of winter, so these are my 4 top winter recommendations. Hello friends, I'm Anna. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to show you my absolute favorite books to read or to reread in winter. And actually, accidentally, all of these are 5-star books, which, you know, does make sense because I've read all of these and I would like to read them again, and for some I have read them more than once. I don't just mean books that have like snow on the cover or books that like take place in winter, even though that's part of it, but it's also about them just feeling right for winter, you know? Also, this isn't like a ranking or about rating the books as much. It's more about like telling you why I feel like they really need to be read in the winter month. Personally, I think there's like 2 types of readers for winter, and that we just read a little bit differently in winter. Not especially more, even though for me personally I think I read a bit more in the winter months than in the summer months. But still, I think we just read a little bit different, because winter kind of forces you to like slow down. There's a lot more silence, and hello cat, and I kind of gravitate to books and stories that make you a little bit sit with some uncomfortable stuff and like sit in the silence. So you might be able to kind of spot that as a theme here. What do you want? What do you want? Hi baby. Okay, she won't go away. And the way you sometimes need to sit with something, there's just books that need you or like want you to linger, to not read them in a day, but to sit with them. And to me, those are the kind of books that kind of feel wrong in summer. I don't know. I tend to read those in winter. Anyways, let's get into it. The first book I want to talk about is The Secret History by Donna Tartt, which this is one of my all-time favorite books. If you've seen a video or 2, you know I love this. And what's interesting about The Secret History, it's not only set, at least partly in winter, it shapes the story. Maybe to give you a quick rundown of the book, this is about a group of students at a college. It's like very elitist. It's categorized as dark academia, and it's about like this group of college students who kill one of their own and then have to like hush it up and deal with the consequences. As the weather gets colder, the group tends to become more closed off. They spend more time inside, like they huddle in the library, in a classroom, in a dorm room, in a restaurant, and they spend a lot of time like compressed together, but also so separated. Basically, they only engage with each other, but not with everyone else. So they kind of become closed off in a sense of being this group that's like caught in a snow dome. So basically they're like entrapped with each other in 2 ways. Like physically, when they always have to spend their time in their classrooms and studying and everything, or like in a house in a forest. And then also they're like emotionally closed off because they've done this thing together. And it puts them so close that nothing else can get in between. So basically, the winter in this book like amplifies the isolation of the characters. And that's the first thing where I say you need to sit with the discomfort. Especially we get some heavy winter months in the storytelling that are just not nice to live through. Not sure what you just saw. Oh, there's birds. There's birds in the tree outside our window. And basically that's cat TV. Back to The Secret History. I feel like even to get a step further, the more we progress in the story, the more isolated and the colder the characters become. So in the beginning, they're like this friend group and they laugh with each other and they joke and it's like fun. And then the more the story progresses, the more they turn on each other, the more they emotionally separate from each other, the more they get angry and frustrated with each other. So yeah, so basically they get a lot colder with everyone. I do love this book and I do recommend it for winter, and I feel like it's not cozy snowed in winter, but it's like quiet, sterile, scary snowed in winter. and it asks you to like reflect and sit with things. And that's kind of a theme for all of the books coming, so if that's like what you're really not into, sorry. But if you are, you're in the absolute right headspace and you're up for 3 more books that will go in the same direction. Next up is Beartown, and Beartown, honestly, I don't want to summarize it because I feel like I would give away too much. I just want to read you the back and then go a bit into my winter analysis. So the back text is, Beartown is a small town in a large Swedish forest. For most of the year, it is under a thick blanket of snow, experiencing a cold and dark that brings people closer together or pulls them apart. Its isolation means that Beartown has been slowly shrinking with each passing year, but now the town is on the verge of an astonishing revival. A bright new future is just around the corner. Until the day it is all put in jeopardy by a single brutal act. It divides the town into those who think it should be hushed up and forgotten, and those who will risk the future to see justice done. Can one young man find the courage to speak a truth no one wants to hear? I do want to give a bit more information. So this is mainly about like a small town in a Swedish forest that's like very, very isolated and that's losing economy and like infrastructure from year to year to year, and losing jobs and losing just places to work. And there's this hockey team that's about to like, I think, win the nationals when this big bad thing happens. That's talked about in the back. And they basically get the opportunity to like actually revive this town by pulling back in a big sponsor for the hockey club, building a hockey school, getting a mall if this would be able to work, and like bring the town back to life basically, and like save it nearly even. And then we get, well, a brutal act and see how the town deals with it. I personally devoured this. I cried a lot. I was out of words. This again is a book that asks you to sit in this uncomfortableness. And Beartown is one of those books where winter is not just the backdrop. Even though we are in a Swedish town in winter and we're literally under a blanket of ice, it's not just the snow around the people, but winter becomes the identity of the whole town. What do I mean by that? I mean, the cold kind of forces people to like turn into each other, to like form a very tight community. Because I mean, if you live in a place where the nature is basically trying to kill you, you have to really rely on each other. But it's also kind of suffocating because there's no way out, right? Like those people are kind of your life insurance. And then also again, when everything outside and around you is like harsh and cold and like just something to survive against, you tend to cling to the things that give you warmth, that give you happiness, that give you pride. And for this town, it's their hockey club and it's their junior hockey team. Ice hockey does play a big role in this book. And I also feel like we got a lot of heavy emotions. Like there's grief that feels very heavy. There's anger that doesn't like thaw away, it like really lingers. And the silence, I don't know, have you ever been outside when there was like a really thick blanket of snow and there was just no noise and the silence kind of gets loud, like the silence gets deafening? And I feel like this is on a meta basis what's happening in this book. So people don't talk about something that should really, really be talked about, and the silence just gets so loud. And as a reader, I feel like this is really intense, but it's also what makes this book work so well and what sucks you into this storyline. Beartown like really draws you in, asks you to sit in silence in the cold, and gives you like the emotional bandwidth to do that. And like Beartown, some winter books are like really harsh and quiet, and some are massive and loud, and there's a lot happening. Which brings me to the next gem, which is the first part of the Song and Ice and Fire series. It might look a little weird to you because in English those are 5 smaller books. In German we have 10 of these. Bricktown, because the Germans always need a few more words to say the same thing. And with A Song of Ice and Fire, I mean, the title might give away that ice plays a part. Winter isn't just a season, winter is like a warning. Like, I'm pretty sure I don't need to like fully explain what The Song of Ice and Fire is on BookTube, but if you're not familiar, it's the book series that Game of Thrones is based on. Obviously I know that not the full story is set in winter, but we do have the North, and we have the Winterfell Stark family, and we also have the Ice Wall and everything that's beyond. In The Song of Ice and Fire, winter is coming is not just about the weather, it's literally a warning. Throughout the whole series, the characters always get distracted by politics and power and like short-term twists, but always winter is the like huge looming threat in the background that some people know more about and some people know less to nothing about. It kind of represents everything that those characters cannot ignore forever, because at some point the ice wall will break. Personally, I feel like, again, reading this in winter matches with the pacing, because I feel like there's two types of readers in winter. Type 1 is the person who devours 17 books in the months. December, 20 in January and 30 in February, because there's nothing else to do than to sit and read. But then again, there's also type 2 of the reader, which that would be me. For the first thing, I am a slow reader. I'm not really fast. I might read a few more books than the average person a month, but like I need about an hour for 40 pages. That's slow as fuck, and I know. I know. And for Game of Thrones or The Song of Ice and Fire, I feel like the pacing is rather slow because we jump so much between so many different characters. The story just doesn't progress really fast. I'm a slow reader anyways, and I tend to pick books in winter or stories in winter that I can sit with for a while. So I feel like this just fits the season really well. I don't know, I feel like winter really expects patience from you. It needs patience from you because it's long drawn out and you're just waiting for spring to arrive and you're just waiting for summer to come back. But you need to sit through the winter, and I feel like that's the same kind of with this series. And this series rewards it if you stick with it. And I don't want to tell you that it's hard to sit through, because like if it is, you're not enjoying it, it shouldn't be. Some chapters, some character POVs are a little bit annoying, yes, I will admit that. And some POVs are a lot more interesting than others. But it's so worth it. It's so worth it to read 10 800 plus page books for the story inside them. And lastly, I want to talk about a book that isn't explicitly wintry. It's also not explicitly set in winter. I want to talk about a book that's not a starting point in any way, in any getaway. And this is one of the books from the Grisha universe, and we're talking about Rule of Wolves. Sorry, this is floppy, but like, ooh, look at the floppiness. I love floppy books. Could you some more? Okay, I got this. Oh my god, I got distracted. I feel like there's no better ASMR sounds than like book tapping. Okay. So yes, this is Rule of Wolves from the Grisha universe. And if you haven't heard about the Grisha universe, it's the base trilogy is Shadow and Bone. And then there is a duology that follows, which is Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. And after that, we get King of Scars and Rule of Wolf. This whole universe is about, let's say, magical warfare, kingdoms and rebellions, and we have magic, and we have dark magic, and we have found family. We have a kind of cool female main character. We have the big bad boy villain with the dark magic, all of that. And personally, I'd say the first trilogy is a bit juvenile, I think. It's YA. I know Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom was like really hyped and like was very beloved around, I think, the world. And I feel like the last book in the series doesn't get talked about enough. I think it really matters when we talk about it that this feels like a winter book. It's not the beginning of a story, it's not the start of the year where everything thrives. life cycle beginning. So for me, the beginning of the year is actually spring. I feel like it's so weird that we started winter where everyone and everything is hibernating. Anyways, so the book is kind of the aftermath of the full universe we got to experience. Everyone is tired. Every decision feels so costly. And there's like no clean solution to anything left. Like everything's gotten a little bit messy. It is set partly in the north, in Fjerda to be specific, which is leaned on a Scandinavian country. And I feel like the cold kind of mirrors a place where, you know, power isn't really exciting anymore. It's just draining you. In very stark contrast to, I feel like, especially Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, which to me, those you can perfectly read in summer because they're so fast-paced and they're so fun. I feel like Rule of Wolf really is a book that asks you for a bit of patience, and it's about enduring the consequences because so much has happened to lead us up to this point. It's not anymore about racing the adventure, it's about sitting with what has happened. And also, this book is about how the back lovingly calls her the Queen of Mourning. We're talking about, attention spoiler, we're talking about deep undercover Nina Zenik risks discovery and death as she wages war on Fjerda from inside its capital. But her desire for revenge may cost her country its chance at freedom and Nina the chance to heal her grieving heart. Because Nina fell in love with a boy from Fjerda, and that boy has not made it to the last book. And so we're in his home country with her grief in the cold, in the snow, in this dark setting, and we need to sit with it. And I get emotional thinking about it because this book made me cry. Yes, I cried for 2 of the 4 books that I just presented to you, which was Frederick Batman and The Rule of Wolf. Those both had me in tears. But you know, sometimes that's what a girl needs. Sometimes that's what I need. I don't think I've read a book that made me cry that didn't get a 5-star rating. Because to me, that's like, to get me bawling my eyes out, that's art. That's art. Sometimes that's exactly what a girl needs. I would love to hear from you. Do you have a book or more than one book that feels just like winter to you, that you reread every winter? And as always, what are you reading right now? Let's chat in the comments. I would love for you to drop a like and a subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye. Say bye. Say bye.